If you're having trouble understanding payment frequency for your UBC real estate licensing exam, then you have come to the right place. This video is one of 8 videos that we'll be uploading for free to ensure you build a strong foundation for the math portion of your UBC real estate exam prep. Now, all the videos that we'll be uploading to this playlist are from our real estate licensing tutorial course over at excelrealtyacademy.com. So if you find this video helpful, but want a more personalized experience in your journey to becoming a real estate agent in BC, we put a link in the description of this video so you can compare the 3 programs that we offer, which have helped thousands of people go from overwhelmed to fully licensed real estate agents. Now, without further ado, here is the payment frequency lesson. Enjoy. Hello and welcome to Chapter 13 and 14, Part 6. In this video, we're going to discuss the payment PMT frequency. But before we get started, let's cover our disclaimers. This presentation is copyrighted by Excel Realty Academy. It is to be used only by the students who are currently enrolled in our program. You agree to not record, copy, share this presentation in part or whole, and the content of this tutorial course does not constitute any legal or professional advice. Now let's jump into it. So we're going to start this video on rates and compounding periods. In the table, the rate for each row is the same, 8%. But the compounding periods are different. This impacts the value of the loan in 1 year. The more it compounds, the more it is worth. So pause the video and try doing the math. Now, these 3 rates are not the same. In other words, these rates are not equivalent. They may look the same, but the different compounding periods make the FVs different. Now, on this slide, the rates are different, but the compounding periods are the same. They are all J2. We can see the rates are also not equivalent, as after 1 year, the FV of the loans are different. So pause the video again and try doing the math. Now on this slide, we have rates that are different and they have different compounding frequencies. But we can see that all the FVs are equal. Therefore, we say these rates are equivalent. They are basically the same. So this brings us to the third golden rule. The third golden rule is that the number of compounding periods entered into PYR must be the same as the number of payments per year. Let's make a rhyme to make it easier to remember. Interest frequency must match the payment frequency. Frequency means how often something is happening. For us to answer math questions, we must ensure that the number of times the rate is divided equals the number of payments made per year. For every question, there are 3 possibilities with the third golden rule. The first possibility is that there are no payments. This does not give us any issues, and we can solve the question normally. The second possibility is when the interest compounding frequency matches the payment frequency. For example, the rate is 10% J12, and the payment is made 12 times a year. This gives us no issues, as they match, and we can solve the question normally. The third possibility is when the interest frequency is different from the payment frequency. So there is a conflict. For example, the interest rate was 10% per year, J2, but the payments are made monthly. In this situation, when the interest compounding and payment frequencies do not match, we have to turn the 10% J2 rate into a rate that is J12. Using the idea that we learned from the last slide, we need to find the equivalent rate of a 10% J2 rate in a J12 form. When we are faced with questions that give us a rate where the compounding frequency does not match the payment frequency, we have to find the equivalent rate that matches the payment frequency. To achieve this, we need to use a translator. In languages, we can translate the English word hello into the French word bonjour. Hello and bonjour convey the same meaning, despite their differences in spelling and pronunciation. They are equivalents. To find equivalents for rates, our translator is called NPEPN. So to turn a 7% J2 rate into a J12 rate, we will plug it into NPEPN. NPEPN is just an acronym to help us remember the 5 steps involved. And the keys for NPEPN are the 3 orange shift keys at the top center of the calculator. So to define NPEPN, the first letter is N. N stands for nom on the calculator, and nom means nominal. The first step is to enter the nominal rate into shift nom. Second is P for PYR. We will save the number of compounding periods for the original rate into PYR. Third is E, which is F. F or EFF stands for effective. When we press this button, it will turn the original rate into the effective rate. It will make it into a J1 rate. Now, we don't want the rate to be in J1, so we have the second P in NPEPN, which is PYR again. We save the compounding periods that we want into PYR. The last step is N, nom again. We press this button to get the final translated rate. So we press nom one last time. So let's do this example. We have 7% J2, and we want to turn it into a J12 rate, as the payments are monthly. So we take the 7% J2 and apply NPEPN to it. Remember, these 3 are orange functions. Therefore, after typing the numbers you want, press Shift and then press the key to enter them into the orange function. So first is N, which is to enter the nominal rate into nom. So we press 7, then Shift, then nom. Second, PYR. The rate is a J2, so we press 2, then Shift, then PYR. Third is E, which is F, or EFF. We press Shift, then EFF, and the calculator translates the 7% J2 rate into a J1 rate. We don't want the rate to be J1, so we have the second P, which is PYR again. We want it to be a J12 rate, so we type in 12, then press Shift, then PYR. And the last step is N, which is NOM. We just press Shift, then NOM to get the J12 rate. Quick pause. If you want to do more practice questions using the NPEPN method, we have a bunch of practice questions in our courses at excelrealtyacademy.com to ensure that you ace it. Now back to the video. So let's put the three very important golden rules together. Rule number 1, we must use a nominal rate with these 6 functions. Rule number 2, we must enter 5 values to find the 6th. And rule number 3, the interest frequency must match the payment frequency. If they don't match, we use NPEPN to find a matching rate. All right, let's do a handful of practice questions to really cement these concepts. So this question says, you borrow $50,000 at a rate of 7% per annum, compounded monthly. Your mortgage is fully amortized over 25 years. Calculate your monthly payments. Now, as usual, write the 6 variables, PYR, N, IYR, PV, PMT, and FV. Now let's summarize the question. The loan is 7% J12. The loan is for 25 years. The borrower will get $50,000 to start, and the monthly payments will make the N value 0. So PYR is 12 because the rate is J12. N will be the years multiplied by the frequency of the payments. So the loan is for 25 years and payments are made monthly. So that's 25 times 12, which gives us 300. The rate, IYR, is 7. The PV is $50,000. It's the loan amount. We don't know the payment, so we'll skip PMT. And the FV is $0. This has nothing to do with it being fully or partially amortized. It's a mortgage. So in mortgages, the FV is always 0. Now, please remember our golden rules. Rule number 1 is we must enter a nominal rate. And great, we already have that. Rule number 2 is we must enter 5 numbers to find the 6. We also have 5 numbers. And rule number 3, the interest frequency must match the payment frequency. And here, the rate is a J12 rate, and the payments are made monthly. So we've passed this rule as well. So after entering the numbers into all of the functions, to finish the question, we must press PMT. And after pressing it, you will see $353.39. And remember, we round up the cent to the next higher cent. All right, on to example number 4. Now, example number 4 asks you to compare 2 loans from 2 banks. TD agrees to charge you 11.234% J12, and RBC agrees to charge you 11.50023% J2. So based on these rates, which bank would you choose? Now, if the question was asking us to compare the same rate with different compounding periods, the larger the compounding periods, the more you would owe. So we would go for the rate with fewer compounding periods. Or, if the question was asking us to compare different rates with the same compounding periods, we would go for the one with the lower rate. But in this question, it is asking us to compare different rates with different compounding periods. So for us to answer this question, we are going to have to use the 6 important functions. So write them down. Now we're going to start with Bank TD's offer on the left-hand side. So the PYR is 12, since it is a J12 rate. N is 1 year times 12, since again the rate is a J12 rate. IYR is 11.234. PV is 1000, as that is the value we get at the beginning. And there are no payments, so we put a 0 into PMT. Now after doing that, write down the same information for RBC's offer on the right-hand side of your page. So we have 5 numbers and we just need to find the FV. So press FV and we get negative 1,118.31, and this is for Bank TD's offer. Now we follow the same steps for Bank RBC's loan. So please pause the video, put in the numbers to your calculator, and give it a shot. So once we enter all the numbers into the calculator for Bank RBC's offer, we press FV and we get the same number, negative 1,118.31. Well then, how is this possible since these two rates are different? Well, they're not different. We borrowed the same amount and we owe the same amount at the end. Therefore, these two rates are equivalent rates. So banks may intentionally try to trick the public with the way that they advertise rates. This is why the Interest Act of Canada, which is a federal statute law, requires that all banks or lenders disclose, charge, advertise, or deal with mortgage interest rates either in J1 or J2. And when it's casually discussed in real life, they all refer to J2. Now moving on to example question 5. The question says a mortgage amount is $50,000. The interest rate is 7% J2. The amortization period is 25 years. What is the monthly payment? So we have to write down the 6 functions. Now we check the 3 golden rules. The rate is a nominal rate. Second, we have 5 variables and are looking to find the PMT. And third, the payment frequency does not match the interest compounding frequency. So we will have to use NPEPN. Now let's write NPEPN on the left side of our page. So let's start with filling in the variables, starting with NPEPN. Remember, these are all orange functions. Therefore, after typing the numbers, you have to press Shift, and then press the key to enter them into the orange function. So first is N. We press 7, then we press Shift, then NOM. Second, PYR. The rate is a J2 rate. So we press 2, then Shift, then PYR. Third is E, which is EFF. We press this button. Now we want the rate to be a J12 rate. So we type in 12 and press Shift and then PYR to save it into PYR. The last step is pressing NOM again. So we press NOM to get the J12 rate. Now after we got our J12 rate, we move to the right side. So PYR is 12 because the rate is J12, N will be the years multiplied by the frequency of the payments. So the loan is for 25 years and payments are made monthly. So that's 25 times 12, which gives us 300. The rate is 6.90005%, which we got from doing NPEPN. The PV is 50,000. We don't know the payment, so we'll skip PMT. And the FV is 0 because it is a mortgage. So after doing NPEPN and typing in our 5 numbers, all we have to do is press PMT, and it gives us negative 350.21. Also, make sure you round up to the next higher cent. Now note, we don't have to retype in the PYR and IYR numbers. This is because we already did the NPEPN steps first, so the calculator automatically puts these numbers in for you. Also, make sure you round up to the next higher cent. Now, we round up to the next higher cent since a fraction of a cent does not exist. Rounding up benefits the borrower. Rounding up for 12 payments per year for a 25-year loan means the borrower will pay a bit extra for 300 payments. If the borrower is paying a half cent more per payment, after 300 payments, the borrower paid an extra $1.50. The bank doesn't get to keep that extra $1.50, and instead, the bank credits the borrower on their last payment. So the last payment is at least $1.50 less than the rest of the payments. Now that brings us to the end of part 6 of chapters 13 and 14. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. If you like this video, you'll love the next one in our playlist. And if you want to take your UBC real estate exam prep to the next level, make sure to click the link in the description and check out our programs. Bye for now.